Welcome to Nerd Hurdles.
Welcome to Nerd Hurdles, the podcast that doesn't do anything because you're looking at me funny. The podcast that helps you overcome your prejudices with snark, just not geek prejudices.
Or geek prejudices, I guess. I guess we could go back to that. We could go back to having...
Because of what this episode's about?
Yeah, this episode is
Hello,
geek
welcome
prejudice.
to Nerd Hurdles, the podcast that helps you overcome your geek prejudices with snark. I couldn't have made my voice do that if I tried. Don't cut that out. That's gold.
It is gold. My name is Jacob. You are Mandi. We got way more positive feedback on the breastfeeding episode than I was expecting.
Well, I don't think it was because of the content. I think it was because we did our wah wah, no one loves us speech when we talked about the fan mail.
Maybe, but there was like actual like feedback on about
connected
the episode.
to the topic.
Yeah. I always feel uncomfortable when we like
go deeply personal.
No, just when we come off like we're begging for compliments.
Give me compliments. Give me compliments.
And then people give us compliments, and then
I'm like this. Oh God, they're giving me compliments. I feel so uncomfortable.
They're writing us and stuff, and then I don't know. It's very hard for me not to be super snarky to them, just as a defensive reflex,
and to be like, what's fucking wrong with you? Why do you like this shitty fucking show?
Yeah,
called Nerd Hurdles.
Yeah. So, anyways, thank you to the people who have liked us this week on our Facebook page and stuff.
And if Jacob's being snarky to you, it's because he's
not
so moved he doesn't know what to do. He's not very in touch with his feelings.
Yeah, but there was like comments, a few sort of comments on the SoundCloud page about just sort of like, woohoo, great episode kind of stuff like that, like, because when we were recording the breastfeeding episode, I was like, this is the one where we lose all the people who listen to us for geeky stuff.
Well, and I also felt like there was so much I kind of wanted to say and then didn't, and I felt like it was all over the place and I didn't really get any of the points across.
We forgot completely to talk about the tube.
Oh God, the fucking tube.
Yeah.
So we were feeding the baby with a tube.
Don't worry, people. This is not going to be another breastfeeding.
It's not going to be another breastfeeding episode. Just let me get this out.
There's a little addendum because this was something.
So the idea is you can supplement, so give like formula or express breast milk through a little tube when the baby is like sucking on your boob.
Yeah.
When the baby is at the breast. And then you're supplementing at the same time as you're getting like stimulation to make more milk.
Yeah, and this tube is like a really fine, almost filament-like tube.
Fucking microfilament.
It's because of what it's actually intended for is to go through the baby's nose and then down the esophagus and into their stomach for like force feeding if they're like super sick, super premature or something like that. This is not what we're doing. What we do is you just sort of had it taped to the side of your breast so that it would go in with the nipple.
Yeah.
Or myself or your mom sometimes you'd be like you'd have sort of
you
have
guys
it on
would
her
tape
finger.
It next to your boob.
No, but we'd have it on like our finger, and so I'd have like my finger in the baby's mouth sucking on this tube on my finger, which was super creepy feeling, and I was not like a big fan of this.
And the idea behind that is that it's supposedly to avoid nipple confusion.
Yeah,
which apparently isn't even factual.
That it'll help avoid, or that nipple confusion exists.
That it would help avoid it.
Because we were really freaked out about the nipple confusion thing because we knew it was going to take a while for your breast milk to come in, and it would really suck if the baby was only into the bottle.
Yeah.
Once your breast milk finally came in, so it was like.
And nipple confusion is a really stupid term.
Yeah.
Because no one's confused. The baby's like, hey, this nipple, shit comes way faster with this nipple, and it's easy. They're not confused. They know what
it's
one's
a nipple
better.
Preference.
Yeah.
A bottle preference would
nipple
be
figuring out.
At any rate, that didn't
and
seem to
the
happen.
tube at the boob was the worst because like you could never get it in right, and then we also try to like kind of stick it in the corner of the baby's mouth, and
yeah.
Oh, those were nightmare days. Now all I have is a giant gaping hole in the side of my nipple. That's the only thing wrong with me now.
Yeah, it's sort of like this crazy. It's not festering. It looks like it's festering, but it's not.
It's not festering. It just kind of gets that like, well, because I'm aiming for the moist wound healing school of thought. So in place of a scab, it kind of gets like this white layer.
Yeah.
A little gel pad on there now.
Yeah, brings us to our topic.
There's the breastfeeding update for you.
So what we're going to talk about is something that we were going to talk about a while back. We didn't do an episode. It would have been a little more topical.
You say topical, and all I think is like, oh, nipple ointment. It's topical.
We're going to talk about Luke Cage.
Luke Cage.
Because it was, everybody was talking about it a few weeks ago. And now, of course, nobody cares because that's the way pop culture works now.
Well, that's the way Netflix shows work, right? Because people binge watch them and then they're over. So they don't have the same kind of like
staying power that a regular TV season
like the
would.
Game of Thrones have, where people are like waiting every week to watch it.
And Walking Dead. Part of the reason I think that show must be popular is the fact that you have to wait a week.
Yeah.
To watch the new one.
Is it still on? Is it still popular? People watch that show?
There's people in my office who all watch it and then walk around cubicles going, did you watch it last night? Did you watch it last night? Can we talk about it? It's like that kind of popular.
No one talks to you at your work anymore.
No, not since I told them about your breast thing. And now they don't know they can't make the small talk.
So is that like the greatest thing that's ever happened to you then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice not having anybody talk to me at all. It's a little weird. And it was for those few days where I was like, oh, I wonder if I was fired and everybody knows. Because it's kind of like that kind of silent treatment. But I haven't been fired, so I don't think it was that. I think it was just that people were like, they see me and they're like, oh, ask him how the baby's doing. Like, small talk. He's got a baby. That's all I know about him. Yeah, this is what we're going to do.
And then they remember.
And then they remember that I was telling them about you going and having your boob cut open for the abscess. And telling the pregnant girl to look forward to that when it happens to her.
Oh my God. Oh.
So they think of that, and then they just don't say anything to me.
They just kind of shut down and scuttle away.
Yeah, they avert their eyes and keep walking, or
it's like you have somehow given them all social anxiety.
Yeah. It's nice.
It's sketching.
It's nice. It's nice. It's nice to be on this side of the wall. Luke Cage.
Luke Cage.
I thought it started off incredibly strong.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Yeah, I mean, it was like, there were, like, of course, those fake Twitter troll people probably don't even really mean what they say, but they're, like, complaining about it being too black.
My God.
It was, like, super refreshing to have an actual, not just a black cast, but an actual black perspective, even if it is, like, a sort of overblown...
Well, it's still TV.
Yeah, kind of, we're really going to make this black, kind of, almost to the point of being, like, a parody of almost blaxploitation-y kind of thing.
But not because of who has the power.
Well, the blaxploitation movies were made by black directors and stuff. They weren't... Blaxploitation is, like, a weird term, because it was actually... It wasn't white people making those movies exploiting the black culture. Even though I guess the studios were white run and that were distributing them. So, but yeah, it's not really.
I guess it's because of the studios.
Yeah, but the actual movies themselves, whatnot. I mean, they were almost all crime stories, which also Luke Cage is.
You know what? So whenever I think of blaxploitation, the movie that I think of that I'm like, example of blaxploitation is Blackula.
That one might actually be blaxploitation.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think we ever actually saw Blackula, but we always wanted to rent it at the video store.
I always did too, and I worked at a couple of video stores that had it, and I never got it out. I just felt like it would be too bad, and not like.
I think I felt like I wasn't allowed to get Blackula. Like I wasn't allowed to. It wasn't for me. Which, when we're watching Luke Cage, I don't feel like. Okay, like, well, maybe those people who are saying it's too black, maybe they're feeling like, oh, it's not for me, and they're like these white comic book nerd guys, and they're just like, holy shit, nothing has ever not been for them.
For the people who are actually
I don't think anyone's
that,
really saying that, but let's just pretend that for the sake of having people to hate on that there are.
Yeah. In that case, I think there's more people who just go, oh, I thought it was kind of boring, or something like that, like, because it's not resonating with them on some sort of cultural level where they're like, oh, it's just like a bunch of stereotypes.
There's like words though in there that got said that I didn't understand.
Right.
Like, which I was like, whoa, this makes me realize how much everything is for me.
Well, there was also Luke and Pops were geeking out about these 70s black pulp novel writers. And like who was the best and who was the best hero of those.
See,
and
I thought they were talking about, I didn't know that's what they were talking about. I thought they were talking about sports.
Well, they did that as well. They did have like, they were talking about who the best Knicks guy was or something like that.
Okay.
But they had one conversation where they're nerding out about these pulp writers. And I was like, because that's what I read, but the white writers, right? You know, the Michael Collins and
Because you're white.
and Raymond Chandler, whoever.
White people read books written by white people.
Yeah,
It's the rule.
And they're like describing them. I'm like, God, I got to get some of these books because they sound great, and maybe they're not, but that's like obviously a whole genre of like golden era crime novel that I haven't experienced, and then, so it was like obviously that's why they put it in the show.
Well, I guess in that way, like some of it was like, you know, maybe being like hit over the head with sort of these black cultural references. But we need to be. Otherwise, I mean, not hit over the head, but like we don't know about them. Like how else are you going to, it's not like you can just sort of weave them in a nuanced way into everyday life because this is your one chance.
Pretty much. I thought it added like a richness to the show that a lot of shows don't have.
Because I was getting stuff out of it beyond the storyline. Like,
yeah.
Which I guess, you know, you're getting stuff out of. Like, there's a full sort of picture of what's happening in, like, white shows.
Yeah.
But you just take that for granted because it's just what you know.
Well, also, if they mention whatever white writer, J.K. Rowling, it's not like, well, that really added something to the story because...
J.K. Rowling is the poster child for white writer. And it's pretty white.
But yeah, because it like...
Come on, Lee Jordan, man.
You know, it's not like we're going like, wow, finally somebody has mentioned J.K. Rowling and in popular culture, this is amazing. And it's not like, oh, I've never heard of that writer. That's interesting. That's something I don't know, but it's just...
And it's clearly well known enough to be mentioned in this like mainstream show.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's interesting when like, because Luke Cage is so mainstream and it's like a spin-off from like these super mainstream things that everybody's watching and everybody's talking about. And it's radical.
Yeah.
It's radical for, you know, it to be as black as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. It's sad that it's radical, but it is.
And it's kind of like mind-blowing because it seemed like when you watch like 70s TV and stuff, there was like a sort of, you had like the Jeffersons, a little bit later the Cosby Show and stuff, and like there's always been like black TV shows, and like the Jeffersons more so where it actually sort of dealt with black culture in a way. The Cosby was just sort of like beige middle class existence, and they tried to make it. I don't think that you
can say that though without like really kind of, because I think it can be really dangerous to talk about black culture as this sort of uniform thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's black people like the Cosbys, there's black people like there's not actually anybody like Luke Cage, but there's black people like people in Luke Cage.
Yeah.
And the experience of being black is this broad, you know, rich tapestry of all kinds of different ways of being.
Yeah.
It's problematic in ways.
What I meant was that the Cosby Show is a type of black family that white people were going to accept, no problem.
Right, and white people watch the Cosby Show.
And the Jeffersons less so, but the Jeffersons was a bit more like black clowns. It was sort of like half the jokes are about their black stereotypes and stuff.
I'm not super familiar with the Jeffersons.
But it was basically the black Archie Bunker family.
Yeah. Was anyone super racist?
Well, I think George Jefferson was. But it's sort of interesting that then that like dried up to the point where just seeing black people, more than two black people in a cast at all is like amazing. And it seemed like,
is there other like black shows?
I don't know.
Like, I don't like, this is the other thing too, is that I guess this is sort of what you're saying, but like TV has gotten so like hyper focused. I think there's just a lot less than there used to be when it comes to like drama.
Yeah, I guess that could be part of it.
Or I guess there's a huge glut of like shows that maybe nobody really watches, like network television. Like fewer and fewer people are watching that. So if things are not super mainstream or on Netflix, like I feel like they don't. Well, I don't know anything about them.
The only other show I can think about on Netflix with a predominantly black cast would be the Get Down, about the early days of hip hop, last days of disco, early days of hip hop kind of thing. And I think there's maybe one other one.
Is that
It's a Netflix show.
Is it fiction?
Yeah.
Like it's drama.
Yeah,
it's not a documentary.
But it's also made by Baz Luhrmann. So it's like, but I think most of the cast is black. Although I think it was getting flack for not having enough Hispanics in it, because the Hispanic contribution to hip hop culture was huge, and they've sort of blackwashed it, apparently. So,
oh man,
which I thought was quite an interesting critique of this show that I haven't watched and can't comment on.
Right.
But it seemed like there was a lot of...
But that's the stereotype, right? The stereotype is it's disco, it's hip-hop, it's black people.
Yeah.
And that's... I don't even think it's fair to say that it's blackwashing. I think it's like... It's whitewashing. It's what white people have decided the history is.
Right. Well, probably Baz Luhrmann. What an Australian is.
Yeah. Well, then it's definitely what white people have decided.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the thing that she said? Skeety wees or something like that. Ski wees on out of here or something. That was the word she said that I didn't understand. She said a full sentence that I didn't understand at all. What's her name? The detective.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then she said skeety wees a couple of times. And I was like, there's words in this I don't understand. This is great. Now, that's also like, I feel like I'm doing like a real stuff white people like, is to be like, oh, I'm immersing myself in these elements of another culture that I don't know about. And, oh, I'm not like those trolls that say it's too black. I love how black it is. Like,
yeah, we are coming off a bit like that.
That's,
yeah.
I guess the issue is, if you're white people talking about, an experience that isn't your own when you're in the position of privilege, we can't talk about this without either sounding like one of those two things.
Yeah.
Either like racists or what is that called? That like, I don't know, douchey.
So it was like, started off super strong, I felt, and then I got kind of bored after about a third of the way through. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a point where we were like, oh, this must be the end of the season. And then there was still like 8 episodes left.
It was when, what's his face, Cottonmouth got arrested. And it seemed like they had just sort of wrapped it up just because the way they montaged it. And it was sort of like, well, that's kind of a weird sort of anticlimactic ending. But okay, I guess. All right, I guess they're going to pick it up in the next season or in Marvel Defenders, which is going to have Jessica Jones and Daredevil and him and Iron Fist together. And that's...
Who's Iron Fist?
The series that hasn't come out yet.
Oh, is it going to come out?
Yeah. I've seen the trailer. It looks terrible. It's a white kung fu guy.
God, why couldn't it be an Asian kung fu guy?
Because it's from the comic.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But why they picked him, it seems dodgy.
But why couldn't they just make him Asian?
I don't know. He also looks a bit like Seth Rogen, which is weird.
Which suddenly made me think of Kung Fu Panda. Sorry, Seth Rogen.
It feels a bit like Kung Fu Panda.
I want to say something about Cottonmouth. So the background of why he has the name Cottonmouth is something about like his teeth getting knocked out or having something like that.
Yeah.
So like Cottonmouth, his name is not snake related.
No.
But Diamondback, wait, is that his name?
Yeah.
Is snake related. Like, could you just not have 2 snake nicknames?
Yeah.
It's like in Gotham. Does there need to be 2 fucking Harveys?
That is so confusing. Like, they knew they were going to bring Harvey Dent in, and I looked it up. I was like, and I think Harvey Bullock is not from the comic universe.
You stupid dum-dum. Harvey Bullock is a fictional character appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics, commonly in association with Batman, and you call yourselves geeks.
They knew they were bringing in Harvey Dent. Why would they name Jim's partner Harvey as well?
I guess in life there could be more than one person named Harvey.
I mean,
we know someone named Harvey.
Yeah, that's true.
And Harvey makes your hamburger a beautiful thing. And, I don't get confused when someone says Harvey. I'm like, are you talking about the baby or are you talking about the burger place?
Yeah.
I can keep it separated.
Yeah, sort of like we got to the mid-season climax. And we got a bunch more episodes. But then I felt like it didn't necessarily get more interesting. And then when it did end, it was also just as anticlimactic.
Yep.
It was kind of, there was like high points in there. It was nice that Rosario Dawson's character came back and played more of a role than she did in the
I feel like
other
there
series.
just wasn't enough. Like they're like, okay, this is our arc.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't enough in the arc to justify that many episodes.
No,
and the episodes didn't have things happening in them. Like they weren't, I mean, I know it's not episodic television, but it wasn't at all.
I did enjoy early on how there was like, the first 2 or 3 episodes, there's no Luke Cage doing super stuff at all, hardly. It was kind of nice that there was no like big setup fight scenes and stuff for, you know, the big end of episode climax, and because that can get really tiring and boring as well. But then I felt like it never really got its feet as far as pacing goes. So there'd be like interesting moments and some great performances. I think out of all the Marvel TV series, at least the Netflix ones, definitely the best cast. I felt like everybody, there was no duds at all in the cast. I felt like everybody was really pulling their weight. In all the other ones, it's sort of like, oh, it's too bad about that guy.
Yeah.
He's really chewing scenery, and
look at them doing some acting.
Yeah. Whereas Luke Cage was the first one where I felt like it was solid across the board.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, very few moments where we were like, ooh, look, they're acting.
Like, all the characters were quite rich, too, I felt like. They really worked out everybody's sort of motivations and personalities, and nobody was just sort of this cookie-cutter character that was just kind of there.
And they also didn't use, like, too much, what the heck is that called? Where they tell you what you're supposed to be getting out of a scene. What is that called?
Expository dialogue.
Yeah. There wasn't, like, for building people's characters, there wasn't a ton of that. Like, it was subtle. You know, like, even, like, the guy, Bobby Fish guy that plays chess, you know, like, just an odd little, like, aside about, oh, why do you call yourself Bobby Fish then? You know, and he kind of gives you this idea of, you know, who he is. Mm-hmm. But without... hitting you over the head with it.
And I like the, I can't remember her name, but the detective. What was her name?
Oh, her initials are MK.
Right.
Mercedes is her name, but that's not what people called her, Mitzi.
Right.
But you don't remember what the K is.
King or Kane or...
Detective.
Yeah.
Something.
Anyway, but...
I remember all of those things. That's it.
Not her name. But I liked how...
Misty. Not Misty.
Yeah, right, Misty. I don't know. It was like a character that I hadn't really seen before. Just the specific way she was like falling apart in a really human way. When detectives often have that sort of crises of trying to work within the system thing, I don't know. She just like sold it so well, and they were so nuanced.
You never get to see a woman, a female character, dealing with something in a way that's different from how male characters have dealt with it.
Yeah, I guess that's what it was. It was true to, it felt authentically like she was coming at it from a female perspective.
And she was like a strong woman without anybody having to tell you that she was a strong woman.
And she was a strong woman without being a masculine woman. Mm-hmm. I guess that is actually what made her character seem fresh and interesting, is because you don't see that. Like,
well, I think we do have more examples of black women like that. Like, I think the idea of a strong black woman is more present in...
It's usually more like the counselor, Cottonmouth's sister,
for sure.
Or stepsister.
It's usually more veering towards the angry black woman.
Yeah.
And I think...
But even she was a more complex version of that.
Oh, I'm not saying that
yeah.
that's the case at all, but I just think it's something that we sort of seen before. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's easier for them to get to a more authentic spot.
Right.
Because, like, I don't know where you have to work from when you're talking about, like, white ladies.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's interesting, too, like, that's such a damaging stereotype, that the angry black woman stereotype. Yeah. Like, I see it, like, hurt people that I know, like, for real. And it's so toxic, and it's such fucking bullshit too, because
it's like as soon as they express displeasure with something, it's like, oh, angry black woman.
Well, and they're so like fucking right. You should be angry, and white women should be angry, and you know, Latino women should be angry. Like, we should all be fucking angry. We're right to be angry,
and white men should be angry on behalf of.
Well, and they have other things to be angry about, but we're not talking about them right now. But it's just, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And it's like, you know, really it's when there's a strong woman, she needs to be put in her place one way or the other. And the way that strong black women are put in their place is by, oh, you're an angry black woman.
Yeah.
It's
Chip on your
silencing.
shoulder. Yeah.
Whereas, white women, it's like, oh, you're a crazy bitch, or it's different things.
Yeah.
I've probably talked about this on the podcast before, but I just thought of it again. An article I read about internet dating and the groups of people who get the least responses.
Yeah, black women and Asian men.
Yeah. You can figure out so much about misogyny and the patriarchy. Everything is there. Everything is there in those sort of two statistics and those stereotypes of how we look at those groups of people. And it tells you so much about what we value when it comes to masculinity and femininity. And I don't know. That article, man.
Yeah.
It resonated with me. Talk about it all the time. I should find it. I think it was a Maclean's article. I read it in a Maclean's at the library. I don't know why I was like hanging out at the library reading Maclean's. Like I've never done that other than that one time.
Yeah, right. You're a Maclean's library nerd.
It's not the Maclean's reading that I think is weird. It's like I just don't go to the library and read stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know me to have ever done that?
Yeah, actually, no.
I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud. I wish I was like, oh, I'll just pop around to the library and read some magazines.
Because I'm 74.
74. Do you have the large print Maclean's in yet?
Speaking of glasses, I think the 1 week link character / actor was Shades.
Oh, Shades.
He was just... He grew on me over...
Yeah, he did grow on me.
Like, because they made him more interesting as time went on. Like, they gave him some levels. They felt like the levels didn't really pay off. They're like, okay, we're going to start building up some levels to his character. And then they're like, yeah, I guess it doesn't go anywhere, does it?
Well, the levels just didn't work with, like, who they'd sort of painted him as in the beginning. Like, if you're going to have this, like, creepy kind of, like, sinister guy who doesn't talk and wears sunglasses... You have to keep him super mysterious. Yeah. Or not have that be his character.
And not cast such a sort of instantly sort of charming, lovable guy.
Yeah, he's so cute.
So I was always expecting like this super other level to come out of that or something. And I was like, oh, they just a slightly miscast. Because I felt like he was like the Hispanic Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Sort of. Not quite that morose and Eeyore-like, but kind of like just that kind of chum. He's like your buddy, kind of. Yeah. And it was sort of like, but he's supposed to be this super evil guy, or not evil, but like super hardcore gangster guy. Especially when he didn't have the sunglasses on, you're just like, oh, he's just looks so friendly.
More like it's like his character occupies the same space as the Penguin's character in Gotham. This person who's like, or maybe like a later stage of the Penguin's character in Gotham, but like where he's sort of managing to like be in these bad situations, but find a way to sort of be on top or
and sort of
almost on top.
Step back a bit, manipulate the situation, and yeah.
But he was just boring. Like, they didn't even use that aspect of his character. Like, you're just kind of like...
a little bit near the end, he starts manipulating things, but it wasn't, like, enough to be like, okay, that's who he is. He's the puppet master.
Yeah. His sunglasses were ugly, too.
Yeah.
I did like that, what's his name, when Shades was going to be out of the picture, he's like, oh, I'll wear sunglasses. Like, I'm going to be my own man and wear these sunglasses just like Shades. It's cool.
I felt like they killed off...
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler. They killed off Pop too early.
Pop was a good character.
I really missed him and Luke having conversations.
Yeah.
Because I think they killed him like, I felt like 4 episodes in.
Oh, yeah,
5,
really early.
Really early. And that should have been the mid-season plot point that
then they wouldn't have had
Luke
to like
action.
wreck Pops over and over again.
Yeah.
Like they could have come into Pops and done something and not killed Pop.
Yeah.
And then Pop could have died in a later one of the times they went and fucked up Pops.
I mean, if they really needed to kill Pop to motivate Luke into action, because that's kind of a tired trope of the reluctant hero.
Well, these stories come from comic books.
Yeah. And I really do think it did it much better, because I think that basically they did the same thing in Daredevil to get Daredevil to start going. And, well, I mean, I guess Batman, his parents dying.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
All heroes, somebody dies, and that's the plot point where they they give in to the to going on their hero's journey as opposed to
their
being
motivation.
But yeah, I really miss Pop. Once after they killed him off, it was like I think that was about the point where I started to lose a bit of interest in the show, and just and then just because you have this whole thing with Cottonmouth, that kind of ends, and then they do the Diamondback thing. Kind of what they do in Gotham too is they have like one baddie for half the season, one baddie for the second half of the season. That's fine, but I didn't really feel Cottonmouth or Diamondback as characters, as adversaries I cared about. Like, they're kind of interesting characters.
Well,
like,
I did a
liked
little
the
bit about
backstory.
Cottonmouth, but I never gave a shit about Diamondback.
Yeah, I think that was... And Diamondback wasn't... He was crazy.
He was too weird.
And weird, which can be great in a villain. Especially the supervillain should be weird and crazy. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't quite enough. He wasn't quite out there enough. He wasn't, like, crazy enough. He wasn't quite violent enough. He wasn't scary enough. And his revenge motivation, it was like super weak. It was like I never really understood why he hated Luke Cage so much.
Because he was the illegitimate son.
I know, but it was just sort of like the guy's like 40-something, and it just seemed like that he'd been carrying that for so long. This
because his mom died because of it, kind of.
I know, but it was still like...
died alone because of it.
I needed more...
Those seem like really real reasons, but like it...
For a young man, I felt like those are really real reasons if it had happened a few years prior, but this had happened 25 years or more, you know, so
well,
it was
didn't make sense that he was only getting around to like doing it now.
And that he would like destroy everything. He was like, I'm going to kill Luke Cage, and I don't care if I destroy my own life, my empire, everybody I know, the whole city.
Going down.
It's going down. And it's sort of like, I needed that scene where you saw him crack and go crazy.
Well, because they also didn't make it seem like he'd built all of that up in order to get Luke Cage.
Yeah.
It was like he'd been doing all of this and then all of a sudden was like, I'm going to get Luke Cage now.
It was sort of like almost an afterthought. It was, and it was sort of like, yeah, you
like
need
a side quest.
It was sort of like, well, I'm bored of the running the city's crime syndicate, the Harlem crime syndicate, so now I'm going to kill my half-brother. All right. Seems like the thing to do.
This is what needs to happen.
Because we've got half a season left, and the writers have written themselves into a corner. And this is
but that's the other thing, too. It's not like other TV shows where the writing of it is sort of going on as it's happening.
Yeah.
It's all written.
Yeah.
It's not like, a show where it's on for 9 seasons and they're writing it as they go.
Well, and but just because he's from the comic book, they obviously knew what arc was going to be from the beginning.
Right.
They didn't have an excuse for having a faulty script at the beginning. But in general, I liked it.
Yeah, no, I liked it. It was good. There was only once or twice where I was like, I don't really want to watch it. If it was the only show we'd been watching, it might have been too much. But we were watching, 3 shows at that point? 2 at least.
Yeah, probably Enterprise.
And Luke Cage and then some Bones.
Probably some Bones, yeah. Season 11 of Bones is terrible, though.
Oh, yeah, but I don't even care.
It angers me. I'm usually upset at some point with just how bad it is now. Because I don't know. It's not just because it's a show that used to be good. Mm-hmm. It is just like objectively terrible TV. And I kind of hate all the characters. Like they've kind of changed all the characters to be shitty people.
Yeah, that's true.
When they had Hodgins get a spinal injury, and he goes all pissy about it.
Right.
Which is a totally legitimate reaction for a human being to have. But Hodgins wouldn't, and he'd be like ecstatic about this opportunity to build cyber legs. Because that is the character of Hodgins. And it's sort of like... that he's acting like the way Aubrey would have acted if Aubrey
I will
had been,
say though that sometimes, like just from the sort of postpartum depression angle, sometimes shit happens and your reaction to it is not, it's out of character.
I don't know if I would say...
I'm not saying that you don't think my postpartum depression was out of character?
No.
Well, I feel
it
like...
It was extreme, but I wasn't like...
Maybe not out of character, but like I feel like my responses to situations was outside of my control.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think they were outside of your character.
Right, okay, yes.
Because they'd built up a character for 10 years of who Hodgins is, and then just threw that all out the window to ham-fist a plot point in for no reason at all. And except they're like, oh, we needed some more diversity in the cast, so we need, instead of having a character in a wheelchair, adding one, we'll just put somebody
Instead
in a
of
wheelchair.
having someone who actually uses a wheelchair come and be on the show.
It's just like the salacious way that they've thrown that in so that he can like now recover from it. Why did you even do this storyline? This is bullshit.
It's awful.
And then like now Seeley's an asshole for some reason. Like he's always a bit of a dick, a bit of a jockey dick, but now he's like an asshole all the time.
What's he being an asshole about?
Just everything he says, I want to smack him. He's just
He's
shithead.
kind of a bitch.
But he's also super intolerant. Used to be like a kind of guy I wouldn't necessarily think of liking.
But didn't hate also.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you're not so bad for a jock.
Yeah, kind of thing. A military jock guy. And now I'm just like, yeah, he's like that military jock guy I fucking hate. But I don't know. Perhaps I've just been holding the show at too high regard.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, the other show that went down the tubes was Star Trek Enterprise. We got to season 3.
They changed the theme song. I loved it so much. It was my song. I look forward to hearing it every time and reevaluating where I was in my journey.
Yeah.
And then they had to go and fuck it up.
They did. The fans complained about the shitty lighters in the air rock ballad kind of theme song instead of, the traditional...
Been a long time getting from there to here.
The traditional orchestral kind of theme. And they tried to improve it for season 3. And hey, people had talked about, all they did was add sort of the weird bossa nova beat. And I realized I'd never actually seen any season 3 episodes when that theme song came on, and it was like I thought they would have just added some little drum machine or something, but they actually like changed the guitar rhythm and stuff. It's just horrible. It's
so much worse. Like objectively, I recognize that it's the earlier seasons. It's also bad,
but it's like that they made a bad thing worse. Like they
so
found the
much
one way
worse.
to make it worse, and it's kind of weird. Like they could have just like kept the vocal, but put like the orchestral Star Trek kind of music behind it. And probably that could have been their sort of...
You mean like, wee, it's been a long time. Getting from there to here. It's been a long time. But my path is finally clear.
Yeah, they could have been like that.
For real, that's what you meant?
No, the singing vocal track. Oh. But then...
What would that be like?
It would probably still be bad, but...
It's been a long time.
Okay, you've convinced me it'd be bad. But also just the whole going into the expanse thing to do
going
battle.
to an arc is a terrible idea for Star Trek.
Yeah.
I do not like the Star Trek arc.
But also like they're going into the expanse because there's any obvious nod to the post 9/11 world, because it's only a few years after 9/11 they've been attacked for the first time. So it's like America getting attacked on its own soil for the first time, other than Pearl Harbor. Obviously, the parallel they're trying to play with.
Yeah, I guess so.
And there's like this weird alien council of evil aliens that sit around an evil boardroom and talk evil things. It's like it's
the Evil League of Evil.
It's like the Captain Proton villains.
It's
It's like, what the hell is going on? But
and those little bug people even sort of do that. They get their little scritchers up and go like...
It's like Ming the Merciless kind of thing. It's like, how are we going to defeat the humans this week? And yeah, it's just, but sort of the actual episodes haven't been that bad. Like there's the freighter guy that was going to sell Archer to the Klingons and stuff, the bounty hunter. Like that was a good Star Trek-y episode.
Yeah.
But
I don't like Expanse Archer. I don't like Expanse Tucker.
Yeah.
Like, I liked their characters before, and now they're all different.
For some reason, T'Pol wears a velour jogging suit.
Yeah, with a bared midriff? Or is that just in her pajamas?
That's her pajamas, her
where
bared
it looks like the
pajamas.
top went through the wash and got shrunken.
Yeah, it got real shitty. I can definitely see why it only lasted 4 seasons now. Because, bad news.
It's too bad. Because I feel like it was okay. Like, And I feel like most Star Treks by season 3, they hit this great stride.
Yeah.
And it's like they hit this horrible ditch.
Yeah. So all those people, like last episode when we were talking about how much we loved Star Trek Enterprise, and they're like, what are they talking about? They've lost their minds.
Now we know better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what happened was, I think in other Star Treks, or just in other shows, when they get better, when they sort of hit their stride like that, it's because they're being informed by themselves.
Yeah.
Like the characters are developing, and the show, its meat, its essence is developing.
Yeah.
I think Enterprise suffers from all of the Star Treks that have come before it. You can almost see them sort of second guessing how they're doing things. Oh, is this Star Trek-y enough? Is this too Star Trek-y?
Yeah.
Is it, like they just keep sort of going back and forth.
And I think there's definitely some, is this BSG enough?
Is this, yeah,
I feel like
is this too BSG?
Yeah, because I feel like some of the Expanse stuff is definitely felt like it was informed by BSG in a way that the first 2 seasons weren't.
Were you restructuring your sentence to not say BSG? You said informed by BSG, not that it's too BSG.
BSGE?
BSG? Yeah. It's like this guy knew they would talk about the bully and the bully.
Right. Right, the bully and the bully. Yeah. The bully is the buller, and the bully is the bold. He's been bold.
Yes.
Also hard to say. Man, wonder if this baby's going to be a bully or a bully.
Oh, I hope neither. I hope a bystander that stands up.
Yeah, but remember what happened to River Phoenix's character in Stand By Me?
He died?
Yeah.
Oh, right, he did.
Stabbed with a knife.
It's also what happened to a guy in an episode of Gotham.
Which we'll probably talk more about maybe next episode, because you will have seen more episodes. And I think it's like easily the best superhero television show on
Netflix.
Yeah, but on TV in general, ever.
It's not as good as Adam West Batman.
Different. It's a different animal.
It's the same animal.
It's a bat.
It's the same show.
Oh yeah, we were going to talk about Deadpool. Because it was going to be like, Luke Cage is Marvel, Deadpool is Marvel. We'll talk about these marvelous Marvel things.
Marvelous Marvels. It's like the title of the episode writes itself.
Deadpool was enjoyable.
I enjoyed Deadpool.
It was funny. It was a good comedy. Mm-hmm. It was, I think, if you wanted to like rate it as a action or superhero movie, the superhero / action plot was
weak.
Very weak. Which was almost a joke in itself. It was almost like a satire of Marvel movies made by Marvel, which was kind of brilliant. Mm-hmm. Because it really pointed out how shitty all those Marvel movies are. Mm-hmm. Even the ones that you kind of like. I mean, they're just, the whole origin, everything was just bad.
I loved that movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And just now I'm thinking, it's amazing how interesting and funny and character Deadpool is, even though you don't even see his face for most of the movie.
Oh yeah, I guess not. Yeah, it's true.
It's pretty.
There's a lot of
impressive.
flashback stuff.
Well, no,
before,
but even in the scenes where you don't see his face, it works. Yeah. It still works.
Yeah. It was
It's funny.
I guess that's really all I've heard anybody say about it.
That it was funny.
Yeah, people want there to be another one and stuff, and they're like, it was.
I'd watch another one.
Yeah,
because it would be light, and I think the thing that made it the best was like these quick little quips.
Yeah.
Like it was just a series of like good quips.
Which is what generally, even the quippy Marvel movies are kind of missing. You didn't watch Ant-Man, but Ant-Man was a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Although it was Paul Rudd instead of Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, but who you apparently confuse. I don't know how you confuse Paul Rudd and Ryan Reynolds. It's Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds that I can't keep track of. Which
I don't get. Ryan Gosling is a very unique face.
Paul Rudd is a Paul Rudd face.
It's very... Ryan Reynolds, I feel like, has a Paul Rudd face. Kind of. But their comedic delivery is like the same style.
Yeah,
I feel like
could see that. Yeah.
So I spent like half of Ant-Man
and
being
they're just white guys with kind of light brown hair.
Yeah. Chris Pratt is another one of them, although he's much more weaselly rat-faced looking, I think. But yeah.
I think he looks more like Paul Rudd than Ryan Reynolds.
So they could have like Ant-Man, Star-Lord, and Deadpool in a movie together, and it would just be like, oh, I can't tell who's talking right now. They're all cracking the same jokes.
Yes.
And being the same character.
Well, especially because they all have masks. Well, I don't know about Ant-Man, but Deadpool and Star-Lord both have those like full-on face masks.
Yeah, Ant-Man does too. It's, it's like in his ant suit.
What's his origin story that relates to ants?
What's his face? Michael Douglas. He was creating this shrinking technology and is in the suit, and then Paul Rudd is this thief that steals it. And at any rate, the suit allows you to shrink.
Oh.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a particularly useful superpower.
Well, they make it work. Does
he go inside of people's heads and then full size?
He breaks into the Avengers fortress for some reason. I can't remember why.
They have a fortress?
Well, I don't know. It's like a bunker.
Like a hangout?
I wasn't really paying attention. Yeah. I mean, it was like, oh, action sequence. I'll tune out.
There's something I want to say about Star-Lord that relates to our baby. This is, I'm a little concerned, because our baby's name is Quill.
Right.
A little concerned that Star-Lord might make the name popular, because the character's name is Peter Quill.
I feel like nobody knows that.
It's not super obvious in the first movie. It gets mentioned, but it's not a big deal. But the sequel's coming out.
Right. So
what if
maybe,
it's more of a thing and there's somebody that always calls him Quill or something?
Maybe.
Ooh.
Bring me the head of Quill.
Oh, and people will be like, what a great name.
Yeah.
Let's all name our kids Quill.
Do you think that's where we got it?
No, it's not.
Subconsciously?
No, it's definitely not.
Well, it may have been like super subconsciously.
No, because it came from, I always liked the name Quinn.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the path I took to get to Quill eventually.
Right, yeah. My friend's dog's named Quinn, so we couldn't go with that.
No, and I have one of my cousin's kids is named Quinn.
Right.
And then I have a friend with a kid named Quinn.
Yeah. Well, I think Guardians of the Galaxy would work better as a series, actually.
I loved the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, but I think it would have too, because it really has a good ensemble cast that I think could have kept
and they could
going.
have done weekly adventures, like more so in a way than Luke Cage can.
Because you have the ensemble cast, you could do more with it.
It sort of lends itself to TV, I think, more than movies. Like, I feel like if they do, say, 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the third one's going to be shitty. The second one may or may not be better or worse, but the third one's got to be shitty.
Well, they got to keep making them just to sell the soundtracks.
Yeah.
Do they actually sell them on cassettes?
I believe so.
They'd better.
Yeah.
Do you think they're just going to start using like Big Shiny Tunes 6 or whatever for the Awesome Mix Volume 3?
Just repackage it?
Well, they're just like those things, those cheesy like big campus hits.
Yeah.
I guess Big Shiny Tunes is a Canadian thing?
Yeah, it's a Much Music one.
Yeah.
I think there's more like classic rock on the Guardians of the Galaxy thing.
Well, I don't know. Some of those Big Shiny Tunes ones were...
No, they were always the hits, weren't they? It was like Now.
Oh, those are different ones. Those Now ones are different.
Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't Big Shiny. It was kind of the same idea, but it was like a little more rock oriented. But it was always current. It was the current top 40.
I don't know that it was current. I feel like there was a lot of stuff on there like that was just sort of getting paid in like university bars.
When they were around, I wasn't really in university bars anymore.
No.
So
that was when I was.
Nor have I ever actually
hung out in university bars.
Listened to a Big Shiny Tunes CD, but I thought there was like Canadian alternative rock was just kind of what they were.
Let's look up and see what was on a Big Shiny Tunes.
Big Shiny Tunes is a series of rock albums featuring various artists compiled and released by the Canadian music television station Much Music beginning in 1996. The best-selling album of the series was Big Shiny Tunes 2. It features The Prodigy, Blur, Third Eye Blind, Smash Mouth, Sugar Ray, Brand Band 3000, Marilyn Manson, Matchbox 20 Collective Soul, Tea Party, The Chemical Brothers, White Moth, Mason, Radiohead, Stone Temple Pilots, etc.
But it also made me think that the Avengers would work better as a TV series as well.
It's true. I think the things with the ensemble casts do. And I think the things
Yeah.
where it's sort of more about one person are better as movies.
But even when they're doing like these movies that are all tied together in like this huge arc, like they have done with like all Captain America's and Thor's
yeah.
movies. And
Avengers.
having an arc go through these movies doesn't really feel like it really works that well.
No, it doesn't
Ultimately-
work. And then like I can't even keep track of which ones I've seen and which ones I haven't seen.
Yeah, we haven't seen Captain America Civil War, which is basically an Avengers movie because it's where the Avengers are fighting each other.
Oh, right.
And it's sort of like, well, why wasn't that just an Avengers movie? Why can't Captain America actually have like a solitary Avenger if you're gonna call it a Captain America movie?
It's
like,
weird. Yeah.
So
What's an Avengers movie and what's a not Avengers movie?
Yeah. Well,
What's
they're
the
all
rule?
Avengers movies now, I guess. But yeah, like they might as well should have been a TV series, and then it would have been. You would be able to at least remember what happened in the last one when you see the next one.
Previously on.
Yeah.
They should have previously ons for those movies.
Well, I guess people are supposed to like marathon them every time a new one comes out
Oh,
or
I'm
something.
not doing that.
Yeah, no. But what I was wondering is like, is Deadpool going to show up in one of the Avengers movies, and is he going to like break the fourth wall the entire time? How's that going to work in like one of the other movies?
Oh my
If
god.
he starts referring to like Stuart McAvoy and stuff
That
like
was
that.
pretty
yeah.
funny. I was like, hey, wait a second. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Go back. That's funny, I think.
Yeah.
I think I just heard something funny. It was quick, though.
Yeah, it was like a total aside kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of that stuff. Like it's like totally fourth wall breaking all the time, which apparently happens in the comic as well.
Well, and like not just fourth wall breaking, but like
Yeah.
also like, I mean, I guess that's breaking the fourth wall to talk about it being a movie outside of a movie, but it's like it's another whole step, right?
Yeah.
Like usually when they break the fourth wall in movies, it's like
Well, they also reference it. He's like,
it's
he
like
was like,
Ferris Bueller.
yeah, he's like, well, he says, I'm breaking the fourth wall within a scene breaking the fourth wall. This is 16 walls we're breaking or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah. I mean, it was
The Ferris Bueller thing at the end was pretty funny.
it was pretty good. I don't know. He did like that extra bit of talking.
It should
Yeah.
it should
Yeah.
have just been
Straight the Ferris Bueller
Yeah.
thing would have been perfect then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good.
and then it should have gone bow bow. Chicka-chicka.
Nerd hurdles.
Here's a further appeal for you. I need supporters for this website. This simplysyndicated.com thing, this podcast network you've been listening to. We don't have ads, you see, but it takes money to run this and keep me willing to do it. So I need you to go to simplysyndicated.com/everything and sign up to support us with just £6 a month, which is incredible. We appreciate it so much. It's awesome, you guys that already do it, and we, need every little bit we can get to help us out. So if you go there, simplysyndicated.com/everything, it's £6 a month to support us, and you get simply everything in return, which is our entire back catalogue of sort of 11 years worth of shows and exclusive content. Alternatively, we've got a Patreon, which is patreon.com/simplysyndicated. That's a $3 a month support donation, and I've been posting some exclusive content on there as well. So that's might be more up your alley. Or failing that, we actually just have a PayPal button where you can give us a little tip, throw us something in the jar, so to speak. And you'll find the link to that at the bottom of simplysyndicated.com.
We haven't drank real normal beer in a long time.
I don't know. I had a beer at a bar, and it was great. These beers are so bland tasting to me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Floral bouquet though.
I'm not as into beer as I used to be.
I just really liked that beer that I had. I should have just bought that kind of beer.
Yeah. What beer was that again?
It was the Honkers West Coast IPA or whatever it is.
Is that by the Goose Island or?
Oh, maybe it's Goose Island. I don't know. What's Honkers?
Why I thought it might be one of their varieties, like Goose's Honk.
Oh no, Honk. I think so. I think
Oh.
it's Goose Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honkers is a different beer. Like one of their beers is called Honkers, but the one I had was not that.
Was not that. Oh, okay.
I think so. No, I'm just getting confused.
Yeah.
God damn it though. This beer is not that beer.
Still a good beer. It's Sam Smith Winter Ale.
It's
It
it the organic pale ale, isn't it?
Was it the organic?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. The winter has the dark red label, right?
Oh, baby sounds are fine. This is just our new reality.
I think
Oh, someone's looking for an impromptu place at Bloor and Islington to eat and listen to live music.
you're out of luck.
I don't know about live music. Bloor and Islington.
That's like
Live music.
there's nothing there.
Bow, bow.